Okay, so sorry. I did try for about 20 minutes or so to go back live on YouTube, and I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm going to put these videos together if I can, and we'll see what we can come up with. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to jump back into this painting, and I'll finish it. All right. So getting back to this, I'm squinting down at that entire tree, and I'm just looking to see where there are passages of just sort of a darker gray or springy green, and gonna scumble those in where I see them, and then I'll add highlights on top of that. This is just a loose scumbling. It's very thin. A little bit of white into that. Just loosely scumbling in place where I see these. I'm going to start with darker and then fade to lighter. And this is just a mixture of ultramarine blue, cad yellows, and some white. A little bit of yellow ochre.
Got a perfect day.
It sure is lovely out. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let some of this get a little bit whiter as I go towards the top. Just a little bit. Okay. Pretty dog.
Fun. We never see people painting.
Oh.
I paint, but I'm not very good.
Oh.
Enjoy it.
It's
Nice.
very relaxing. Thank you.
It is. Cool.
Thanks. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this spring green, yellow ochre, cad yellow light, and some ultramarine blue. I'm just going to put some of this down here towards the base. I like to work my trees from as far to the inside as out as possible. I think that we had a pretty good form here, and so just going with that, moving forward with that. Starting to really try to capture some of that, the leaf movement too. Now I'm going to move over just a step into the light, because while I was trying to get Wi-Fi, I lost my sunshine. There we go. Hope that that's a little bit more visible there. thinking too about the direction of the sun and where it's coming from. And we have this, I'm going to take some ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, a little bit of white, to put in the shadow down here on the ground. It just helps give us a little bit of direction where the light's coming from. It's too heavy. As shadows move away from the source that's creating it, they get lighter and lighter. So this gives us that clearer picture of the lights coming from that way. This. All right, now I'm going to focus a little bit more on getting some of the branches, having a little bit more thicker paint on them. So ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Darker up here towards the tree. I like to use horizontal brush strokes as I paint tree trunks. And then this lightens as it goes down. Down to the bottom. Where it gets darker down here too because it's closer to the grass. Let's take some phthalo green, little ultramarine blue, and some cad yellow medium. I just want to put in a few of these sunspots of the shadows down here. The shadows. Just enough to kind of direct the eye in place. And add a little bit white and some of that cad yellow pale. I just want to frame in this tree a little bit with some of that sunlit grass over there. Just a little. Right, just a little. All right, good enough. Don't want to get too carried away with playing with that. Okay, but I did want a little bit of that background back there just to offset the branches as we see them glow. And I've got a little bit of the other tree back here. Just give it a little bit of dark space where it can live. alizarin, burnt sienna, some ultramarine blue. Just let that do its thing. I don't want it to be too distracting, but it's just providing enough of a value to really make this tree glow. There. Okay. You hear that water? Sounds so nice. Okay. All right, back to the tree. Now I want to pull in some more of the highlights. Grabbing some white, a little yellow ochre, and a little blue. Let's get a very subtle, soft, light green, very light. This is not our brightest white yet, but this is going to help define some of these clumps as we see them. Remember, we're working from the inside out. So I really want to start letting these sculpt out where I'm going to go with this. After this step, I'm going to paint in the sky holes. I want to be careful not to get too much of those white pieces of paint, because that's not where I want the highlights. Oh, the sun hits my brush. If you have that problem that I do, sometimes the sunshine glares and glints off the furrow, you can get other brushes that don't have that. Or you can just sand them a little bit with some sandpaper and paint some black paint on them, or just any color, just to help knock down that glare. Just coming up with a nice neutral green here again. Ooh, sometimes it's blinding, that glare. Oh, I gotta hold my brush this way. Much lighter at the top of the tree. Well, that's what's happening there. And then, where it gets silhouetted against the sky, you have the darker branches. Some oil in here to help soften that a little. A bit more green. Ultramarine blue, yellow, cad yellow, medium. Grabbing some of that burnt sienna blue mixture just to get some of these darker passages in here. I think that'll look nice. So I'm just jumping in and grabbing different shades of this green every now and then. Greens and gray shadows. So I'm looking at the tree, just squinting way down. Some of this in the middle seems to be picking up a spring green effect, and that's what I'm doing in there. Now I'm wiping my brush off. I'm going to get some of that middle tone white light that I had down here. Pulling back a few that got a little bit lost. It's nice to hear the boats on the water. Having a little bit of the ultramarine blue and the white. I'm going to just paint in some of these sky holes where I see them, around some of these. I have to hold my brush like this because it's too bright. A nice white piece over here. All right, now I'm going to just clean this off really, really well. I don't want any dark in my brush at all. And I'm going to take some nice clean white down here. That might be too much. And then some sunny, sunny, sunny bright yellow, just the tiniest little dot. Paint those two colors together. These are going to be just the few highlights. Really bright where the sun is coming as it hits some of these. Clean your brush off. I just clean it by twirling it. Like that. I think that has a nice, joyful, exuberant feeling of the light just coming through the top and really hitting and playing with these blossoms in here. And over here. By adding just that touch of yellow to the white makes it look even more sunlit than just white. These are some of those over on the other side of the tree that are getting hit by the sunshine. a little bit more towards the top. Right in here. Darker. Just wanted a few of these just to stand out on their own. There. All right, now I'm just gonna come back through here and just make the grass a little bit brighter, where I want the sun just to really feel like it's drenching it. It's a little bit of phthalo green, cad yellow, little white, maybe a little more of the cad yellow medium. There we go. Little shadow spots in there. And then I think we'll even just pop some of those up in the tree just to give it a little bit of sparkling, transparent leaves up in here. Maybe some over here. Okay, one last thing I'm going to do is to pull out a few more of these branches that got a little bit lost in the process, just cleaning up around them. More. Grabbing some ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, nice dark. And back to the way I did it in the beginning. Lightly press. And just pull those back out, right where we saw them. A little bit of linseed oil. going to come back in there and put in some highlights on the tree trunk as I see them. Just a few where the sun is streaming through the tree and just catching the highlights on some of these beautiful branches. All right, well, I think that that's about as far as I'm going to take this study. I will show you again the tree that I was going from, right there. And I think I will go one step further and take this over to the light. Yeah. And then let you come in close and look at it a little bit better here in the light. Okay, so that is the finished painting, and I mean, it's the finished study. Not really a finished painting, but you know, that's what it's about, just being here in the moment, catching some of that sunlight and the colors and the color notes and just the character of a tree. All right, so that was today's lesson, and again, I'm sorry about the split up in the middle, but I hope that this all works out and you guys enjoyed the lesson. All right, thanks guys, have a good day, bye.